Hello again. It was, I suppose, inevitable that when Disney decided to produce a live action version of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, that it would bear little resemblance to the cartoon version of the story. Snow White is an old European folk tale whose origins are obscure. The version we know today was collected and set down by the brothers Grimm over 200 years ago. It begins with a queen pricking her finger while sewing, and upon seeing the blood on the white material, she wishes for a daughter whose skin is as white as snow and whose lips are as red as blood. That's where the girl's name comes from, Snow White, because her skin is as white as snow. Later on, of course, her daughter gets mixed up with a bunch of dwarfs, which are an ancient feature of many European legends. A film which has a Latin American actress with very brown skin playing the part of Snow White is a bit weird. Snow White with brown skin, you see. Getting rid of the dwarfs and having instead a bunch of people of average height, half of whom are of African heritage, is even odder. In the thumbnail to this video, viewers may see Snow White and the 7 men of ordinary size. The correct expression for this process is cultural expropriation, and it has always been viewed in a negative light. In West Africa and the Caribbean, stories are told, folktales that is, about a magical spider called Anansi or Brer Anansi. Sometimes he's almost godlike, god of mischief, a little like Loki from the Norse legends. These stories have their origin in the Ashanti homelands, and they are most popular in Jamaica, where many enslaved Ashanti were transported to. The stories about Anansi feature his interactions with people, animals, and supernatural characters. I'll give a link to the Wikipedia page on Brer Anansi in the description to this video. There are picture books about Anansi for children. Both Anansi and the people with whom he comes into contact are, of course, of black African appearance. I invite viewers to ask themselves what would happen if somebody produced a Hollywood film based on the Anansi stories and decided to erase black people from it and make Anansi a blonde European, rather than a black African, of course. In the first place, this would be absurd because the very point of the tales is their African context. Remove that and you are no longer dealing with Anansi, whose origins lie in the Ashanti myth system. Secondly, it would be a bit much to deny black actors parts in such a film and instead have more than half the characters played by white people. It would rob the film of all significance. Why is it that we can all so easily grasp this concept, but that when it comes to European folk tales, we are suddenly blinded as to what is going on? I find this very puzzling, and it does make me think that something other than colourblind casting is going on here. It almost looks like a planned assault on the cultural heritage of Europe.